welcome back, Star Wars fans, to Coruscant Radio Underground. I don't know what happened, but apparently we were live for 5 or 6 minutes and nobody could hear us.
Or see us, which
Or
is
no,
even sadder.
yeah, they couldn't see us or hear us, but they could see that we were putting their comments up in the feed. So that was very strange.
It was very strange. We're here now.
So we are live now. So hopefully someone comes back. I don't know. We'll see. But I just, I wanted to tune in tonight and talk to you guys about the toxic relationship that some of you have with your favorite YouTuber. I think some of these people need counseling, Marisha. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if couples counseling with your favorite YouTuber.
I could get couples counseling with my favorite YouTuber.
You could, and I could. But for most of these people who are allowing their favorite YouTuber, their favorite big name YouTuber, to tell them what to think and how to think and what to do, as a toxic relationship, guys, like, you're gonna have to set some boundaries.
It's true.
Like, I mean, I know about that sort of thing. My family's crazy. Y'all hadn't met them, but
no, I mean, he doesn't mean me.
No, not her. Like the part I was born into, not the part I married.
I mean, maybe just a little.
I mean, it's different.
Different crazy.
It's different crazy. It's good crazy.
Good.
I don't know. I'm pretty disturbed by some of the things that I've seen online. And, I said way back and I talked about it a couple of days ago when we talked about episodes 1 and 2 that I've been terrified for like a year that this show was going to be as destructive to the fandom as The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And 100%, that's exactly what it is. And so for that alone, I'm always going to struggle a little bit with this show, not even because of the content, because I really don't, really not digging there's some questions as to where they're taking it. I'm not sure what the point is. I'm not sure if I'm going to like where they're going. It's a matter of whether the story is some of these Jedi made a mistake that ended in some deaths, or the Jedi suck. Like, and I honestly, with this side of the people that are currently making Star Wars, we could go either way there. Like,
yeah,
I'm very concerned that the story is the Jedi suck. That's the story they're trying to tell. I hope the story is we have a group of Jedi who made a bad decision because they're still humans.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Now, as far as the way they're telling the story, I don't mind it. It's very Kurosawa. I can't think of the name of the film. They specifically modeled this after a Kurosawa film. The Jedi are kind of like Southern Baptists with lightsabers right now. At least, like, it's interesting.
Like, less likable kind of stuff.
I mean, if you hand me my lightsaber, I could be a Southern Baptist with a lightsaber there. Southern Baptist with a lightsaber. Sorry.
I couldn't resist.
Hey, Isaac. Thanks for joining. And Ghost, thanks. I think this is the first time I've seen you in my chat. So thank you for joining. And Spencer is in the chat. So thanks, guys. We tried to go live a few minutes ago, and
we did.
It didn't work. I don't know what happened.
We had a little logo.
Yeah,
no words.
It didn't work.
No faces.
We talked for like 5 minutes before we realized nobody could hear us.
It's true. And we didn't, I mean, we could do that without a YouTube.
I did one for 5 minutes one time where nobody could see or hear me. So, I mean, where people could see me but couldn't hear me, but nobody told me.
Friends like that who needs enemies, huh? Wow.
But yeah, so I kind of went into that episode with this like feeling of dread because of all the things that were being said.
It was kind of crazy. Like the way, because you were like, man, people are really like, I'm concerned about this episode.
Yeah. I mean, This was the one that was going to destroy Star Wars lore forever.
And he was like, "Oh man, it just dropped, and oh, I'm seeing some bad stuff. It hadn't even dropped yet, y'all." Like, I know all the people who were griping had not yet seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're gonna watch something and not like it, great. Like, more power to you. But
Oh, sorry. It's. I've had too much caffeine. It's late at night. Might be I might have some ADD problems during the show tonight and be all over the place. But I do not remember which one of the Kurosawa films. I'm sorry, I haven't watched any of those in probably like 20 years. Um, there was one that's basically told multiple times from different perspectives. So you get the different perspectives of the story. And so I do think we're going to get, I think we're going to relive that moment at least twice, from probably Saul's perspective and from OSHA's perspective.
yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that is. So, I mean, that was obviously, that they've said that that was kind of the Kurosawa film they went to for inspiration for how to tell the story. Now, um, I'm really mixed on this. I'm really mixed on this show, because I think the third episode might have actually been the best episode so far. I would give that episode a little bit higher grade than the others. But man, the storytelling is just so fractured. I don't. Sorry, Ro. I don't know what happened. Apparently, when I tried to go live on X and YouTube at the same time, it like failed, and I don't know if I went live anywhere, if I just talked to myself for 5 minutes. And yes, there is a mystery that's unraveling. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they went ahead and just threw the evil twin plot line out there, because that really wasn't what they wanted to be any part of the mystery.
Hopefully, considering how disappointed.
No, that was terrible. That was a horribly disappointing turn of events. But
I mean, it's fine if it's just a plot point and not if it's like the reveal.
Fractured in that, yes, it's a little bit. I don't know that it's super hard to follow. I think I think at the core of this is a really nice, fantastical story. But it's, I say fractured in that we're getting a good core story. I think it depends on where they go with it. Obviously, I withhold the right to change my opinion 180 degrees on this show from episode to episode. But 3 episodes in, I'm okay with the story. Man, the acting is leaving a lot to be desired. It's like Carrie Ann Moss did this to get a paycheck or something. Like, she doesn't even seem like she wants to be there. I don't know the young guy that's playing Torben. He actually, like, given a chance to do a little something this episode was better.
It makes sense why he looks so young, because I was like, is he supposed to, like, I was really confused in the first scene, because it was like he looked like he was like 12, but he had this like beard, and he was it's just a young actor. They aged up.
I can't decide how I feel, but this is not a like this is going to make me like the show less thing, but I can't decide what I think about Wookiees wearing fully clothed Wookiees. Kind of weird.
It is a little bit.
It just doesn't look right.
No.
I mean, I didn't think it looked right in the sketches that they've done, but it definitely doesn't look right in live action.
Yeah.
So
it's just been a little there's a lot of conversation in the chat about just, it's like we're getting pieces, but it's not really enough to get any kind of like idea of what's even happening. Like you have
Yeah.
some idea of the story, but it's really hard to get a feel
I'm
for a
now
direction.
now I'm okay with the story taking. I think some of this is impatience on my part because I'm okay with it taking a while to unravel everything and feed us all the perspectives. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit impatient because I'm kind of scared of where it's going.
Yeah. And I'm with you. It's all about, and this is kind of the same conversation we had about the first two episodes. How I feel about this story that they're telling right now is really going to be decided by the way it ends. It's like all the best buildup in the world. If I don't like the place that they're going, then I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna like it. But maybe it's gonna go somewhere really exciting.
Yeah, no, and yeah. So Danny says that she's okay with the slow unravel, but did they do it in the right order or something's off? And it's
Mm-hmm.
I really do think that this was a solid episode overall.
Mm-hmm.
The acting leaves a lot to be desired. Some of the there are little things like when the fire started,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I thought was, what is burning? It's a mountain. Now, I guess the original fire you could say was the um
I mean, it's got an
was the
accelerant,
accelerant.
right?
But like that fire led to this big explosion. So I'm kind of gonna, at least for now, kind of go out on a limb and say, like, the fire that she started isn't what burned everything down and caused this
Mm,
big chain of events that blows up whatever their reactor or whatever it is there that explodes and destroys everything.
okay. That makes sense. I mean, at this point, we haven't seen the Jedi do anything heinous. Um, other than sort of swoop in and, from the perspective of the he did, from the perspective of the witches, seduce this child away. But, you know, they haven't done anything that I would think would make them feel guilty and terrible at this point. Well, now, of course,
No,
you're
no.
not.
Now we all have Billy Joel running through
Great.
our head.
He didn't start the
Wait,
fire.
Nicole's here. Nicole, welcome. Let's see. Jedi Chicago Post. Here it is. My theory is that Kolick riled up the other witches when the Jedi came to collect Osha. It escalated from there into all the witches dying, being killed. Yeah, I mean, so we could have any number of things. I'm kind of going, how many more perspectives do we get? Thinking that we just get the two Oshas and the Jedi's. We might
Mhm.
also get one. Some of the witches were ready to go fight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible that we get an overlapping perspective between the witches and the Jedi, where someone is the aggressor first, and
Right.
it might not be the Jedi at all.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. It's
But it's this thing where I think the problem is that they gave us all, like, Torben commits suicide, which I'm still really, that really bums me out that they put that in Star Wars.
yeah.
Um, but it's there. It is what it is. But we've seen nothing at all so far that justifies that particular move.
Exactly. Oh, good. The audio is good. Thank you, Ro. These are the sorts of things that a Ro notices.
It's true.
So
Yeah,
yeah, there's
Torben's a little, but he's a he's a young Padawan. So
yeah.
but yeah.
And there's definitely more going on than we've seen yet. And there's clearly more going on than OSHA knows about. There was a book, and the whole purpose of putting the Jedi. Ooh, I really hope not.
I don't remember that book, but there is somebody did a mock trial that actually covers that same premise, and that may be out there on YouTube. Somebody at a convention, maybe Dragon Con or maybe another big convention, actually did a mock trial covering
Yeah.
that. So, um, yeah, that's possible. They're kind of playing in that area. I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to like theorize. I'm okay with speculating a little bit, but I don't want to theorize too much because I really
Mhm.
don't know where it's going. But I mean, overall, what did you think of the episode?
I thought the episode was interesting. So I'm going to be very curious to see exactly what direction they go with the witches, because one of the things that she says is that um they've been accused of using dark their powers have been called dark. So that does bring into question, are they using the dark side, or is that just an accusation that's been leveled by people because they're not using the force the same way the Jedi do?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten a lot of that. I'm gonna assume for the moment that they kind of want that the writer of this would probably be angling toward the witches aren't actually bad. They're different than the Jedi, so they get labeled bad.
Right.
But then they kind of do some things that um
A little dark.
a little dark.
Mhm.
Not to mention whatever unnatural thing they did to create life
Right.
without a father.
I mean, the
Um,
dark side is the path to many abilities that some consider unnatural. I think that's the perfect like summary there.
yeah, I'm also curious about this group. I want them to tell us a little more because we don't really know what this group is per se. They were
Mhm.
exiled from somewhere.
Mhm.
They don't seem to be Night Sisters at all,
No.
because the magic's different.
Mhm. It's very they definitely leaned into the weird. It's completely different from from the Jedi or the Sith. They're kind of weird, like, trancy. Um, it's almost a lot more like you see descriptions of like the cults of Bacchus, and things like that. I forget what they call the women who followed him around. And, like
Yeah,
it's just that kind of like weird, ecstatic, um, witchy thing going on.
yeah. Now I will say I didn't mind the witches, although one of the things I noticed, like the witches are all different species, like
Mm-hmm.
across the board. So I'm curious, like if they're going to give us any backstory on this coven.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all, the cackling,
Andrew really didn't like the cackling.
like
He was like, "It's just too much."
The Halloween stereotypical Halloween witch cackling
Mm-hmm.
was really a bit much. Like it really kind of destroyed the whole vibe of the scene for me
Yeah.
because it was like I'm trying to take it seriously, and she cackles the first time, and I was like, that kind of yanked me out of it. And then it did it again, and I was like, oh God, please don't stop. I don't understand who made that decision or why, but it's like literally just like a Halloween witch cackle.
Yeah, it really was.
And for me, that I need to rewatch it because for me, that kind of like made a mess of the scene for me. Because
Mhm.
then I felt like everything they did during that ceremony was really hokey.
Yeah. I mean,
But I don't know if I just like I think the cackling like put me in that frame of mind where I was like, this is really stupid.
yeah.
Hey Natalie, what's going on? I
How's
don't
it
know that
going?
Natalie's ever joined one of our live streams before.
No.
Welcome.
But yeah, so one of the
The chanting and singing was a bit cringy too, but I promise you it's there. Go back and watch it. There she cackles twice, I believe.
pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, like Wicked Witch of the West cackling.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
it's pretty out there.
Natalie heard it. So
Yes,
we didn't imagine it. It
no,
wasn't a shared
it was true. A shared delusion.
delusion. Somebody else heard it.
Yeah. Um, you know, so
This yeah,
I mean, anything's possible.
right. And so I think the story here is going to be in um I don't know. It's a matter of what they actually created when they created life from nothing. Because
Right.
right now it appears that they created created light and dark.
Yeah, it does appear that way a little bit. And so I kind of like my initial assumption would be that they're using um since they've got the since they've got these children, they don't have a father, that it might be um they might be like a clone even. Because that's a I mean that's a pretty reasonable kind of direction, right? But also they don't
Let's see.
they're n- they
Someone's trying to place our
oh,
accents.
someone's trying to place their accents. New Orleans.
Marisha's from New Orleans, so that's one of the reasons you can't place that one because
Weird and
it's
unique.
yeah. And mine is Mississippi, but it's not necessarily a typical. I get accused of being from other places.
It's true.
It's
Definitely
definitely a
Southern
very
though.
southern accent. I will
Definitely
admit
Southern.
that, but I usually get accused of being from like Atlanta or somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's because I pronounce my words.
Yeah, you don't just drag them out forever. Not that I have opinions. Yes, of course. And yes, all the things, the gumbos and the etouffees and yeah, although it's too hot for all that right now. You got to wait till it gets cold and do all that stuff.
Right.
I remember what I was saying before we identified our accents. Anyway, we're just gonna have to see. I mean,
Well, like
it's got some promise. So
where would
like,
you grade you graded I graded the first two episodes a C and you graded them a B.
I mean,
You don't even have to would you increase the
no,
grade or would you stick with the B?
I'll probably just stick with it. I mean,
Yeah. I would say overall the series still lands at a C for me.
yeah.
But this is an improvement. This episode alone, I would probably give a B minus. I'm still
Mhm.
not digging a lot of the acting. Saul really kind of saves this series as far as the acting.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. So I do think that,
super risky,
yeah.
100%.
And there is no father. I was like, "Oh, don't do that. Don't
Yeah,
do
but how do you
that."
feel? Like a lot of people are saying that this makes Anakin less special.
Okay, I think that if they were just a spontaneous creation of the Force, then yes. It would be like, no, we're not doing that. But again, the dark side is the path to many abilities that some consider unnatural, including children with no father. Um, I think that you're likely right that we're going to have they're going to do something with some kind of dyad.
I think so, but this is not the first time we've done. I mean, this will mark like the fourth or fifth time we've done twins in Star Wars if you
Yeah.
count all the old stuff, video games, the new stuff. Twins are kind of beyond, like, you can call it they may call it a dyad, but like twins are kind of a special thing within the Force itself, and they've done that a number of times.
Yeah.
Some of the coolest things, I love the Old Republic, all those Old Republic trailers. The one with the twins
Yes.
is that one, like, that should have been a movie, like that right there.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Ghosts want to know, is C enough to keep watching? C is enough for me to keep watching because because for me it trended upwards. I hope we see more of the Wookiee.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they brought Eunice in for nothing.
Yeah.
They brought Eunice in, give him a chance to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, whenever we see, the only problem with telling this story, does anybody in the chat know how many episodes this is?
I have no idea. Mm.
Yeah, so that's true. I don't feel like this makes Anakin any less special, but that was the big source
Mm-hmm.
of contention last night.
Yeah, I feel like, especially if there's some kind of clones or some kind of manipulation, there's some kind of things that the witches have been meddling with. I mean, y'all, like in real life, we are like that close to human cloning being like a viable thing, an illegal thing, but a viable thing. And so to think that, something along those lines, there's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things that don't have to be a another situation like Anakin. I just think that
That's why there's so many of them. They started it years ago. Cloning. The Chinese are already cloning. That's why there's so many. Not really, but just saying.
wow, that actually that doesn't work because clones are like at this point they don't know how to clone males. So if that were true, then they would have balanced out their like their disproportionate number
True.
of men to women. Oh, Marisha has a perfect. Well, thank you, Marisha and her. I really hate the way that my voice sounds like on recordings every time.
Look, that's normal around here. I made a joke during the 5 minute stretch when nobody could hear or see us when we tried to go live the first time, and I pretty much got the same look, but maybe worse.
I mean, we've been married for almost 16 years, so I don't feel like I have to laugh at your jokes anymore, honey.
Hmm.
Unless they're funny. Okay, can we make that go away?
Yeah, we'll figure that out in a minute. You talk for a minute.
So yeah, I'm really hoping that we get to explore some things that we really haven't done before. Some things we really haven't seen before. I really want to explore different ways of using the force. It's a big universe. I want to see some, I want to see the witches do different things with the force. I want to know now. I do want them to really tell us if they are dark side users or if they're users of the light side. Like I think that if you try and say like, oh, that's not a thing.
Well, I mean, there's also been the idea of the force as this thing that there are that there are
hang on just one sec, y'all.
Sorry.
We got a little technical difficulties here.
There you go, Nicole.
Perfect.
What was I saying? I shouldn't have tried to type on the phone while I was trying to talk at the same time.
It's fine. No, so we were just talking about like different kinds of force users. Like we've kind of got like technically the Knights of Ren are supposed to be different, but they're not. They're just Sith acolytes. So we've got the witches, we've got the whatever May is into, whatever kind of dark side thing she's got going. So I want to see some other I want to see some other things. I want to see some force users that aren't necessarily Jedi and aren't going to be okay. Can Oh, I just want to see something different. And I really hope that that's the direction that they're going to go. Let's see. I think sounds like Chimera.
Yeah. So Chimer, and yes, it's essentially Chimera. I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious if he's actually the one in the mask.
Yeah.
That would be my guess at this point, that he's the one we saw wielding the lightsaber in the
Darth
mask.
Visor. I love that.
The Darth Visor. Someone called him in one of Roe's. Roe called him Darth Zipperface, and someone responded by calling him Smilo Ren.
Smilo Ren.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
um,
That's perfect. Creepier Ezra Miller. I mean,
he is kind of like, I called him dollar store Ezra Miller, but I think that makes Ezra Miller dime store Ezra Miller. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't have a very high opinion of Ezra Miller.
yeah. So they could have been influenced by the Sith into creating life, and then I do like this because that's a very Sithy kind of thing to do. They've kind of been. I don't think that that's the direction they're going to go, because I think that they are going to want to make a statement that these strong women can't be manipulated and can't be used. I really think that that's going to kind of be more the vibe they're going to be going for. But I really do like this idea that they've kind of been manipulated into creating this, and then, just kind of trying to create infighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So we've said this 100 years before the Republic, right?
100. This is no 100 years before the prequel.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I knew what you meant, but I wanted to
yeah,
to say it right.
yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna get rid of this guy.
Please do.
User in timeout for 24 hours. Goodbye.
All right. Love it. Okay. So I mean, what do you think? How do you kind of feel? So here's what I'm curious about. What do you hope that this story does, and what are your biggest fears for the direction this story is going to go?
What was the first part of the question?
What do you hope this story does, and what are you afraid this story is going to do?
I am afraid that the story is going to vilify the Jedi.
Okay.
That's my biggest fear with the show.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, that's definitely, there's been a lot of chatter.
That has been a common thread in within certain groups in the fandom for a few years.
Yeah.
That the Jedi are actually evil, the Jedi are the bad guys, all this, which is really weird, because those same group of people get absolutely furious with people who are like really into the Empire.
Yeah. Right. So, but what do you hope that this story does?
So, Ghost, I think it's okay for the Jedi to do something wrong, and for us to vilify them for a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of
the Jedi
vilifying
are
the
evil.
idea of the Jedi as evil.
I like my good guys to be good guys, and I like my bad guys to be bad guys.
Yeah, 100%. I'm actually, like, I saw people earlier talking about someone who I won't name, so that I don't summon him like Beetlejuice. Talking about, people that used to, people, the people who are, oh gosh, let's see.
You have to go find it.
Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah, I'm okay with them being all right.
Now, that being said, we're in a time period where the Jedi are They're Jedi
in decline.
And so I think seeing that, I mean, that's one of the things I don't love about this, but we have to see that decline of the Jedi.
Right.
And that's not something this show's doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that was set in motion by George himself.
Right.
So this was let's see, m- make you question the Jedi ways that make people who see Star Wars as a straight up no gray area good versus evil story very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Um, yes and no. I mean, to deny that what George initially wrote was a good versus evil, George literally called it a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Like that's what he wanted to write.
Yeah.
And so, um, fairy one of the hallmarks of a fairy tale is good versus evil.
And not that you can't have good,
You have characters that
your
don't
good people don't
necessarily
have to be good, and your bad people don't always have to do the bad thing, right?
correct.
But whenever you start saying no one is good and no one is evil, it's just all, that's whenever I start to feel like, it's a different kind of story. Um so and to respond to this, like, this is why Star Trek people makes fun of Star Wars fans.
But Star Wars
So
has been doing shades of gray since
I just
1977.
don't want everything to be gray. I'm tired of
Yes.
stories where everything is gray. I'm tired of Game of Thrones where no one is good,
I'm not
everyone
looking
is
for,
great.
I don't want postmodernist Star Wars where
And
everything's gray.
um, like I said, I don't mind nuance in my characters. If you have characters that are always good and always bad, that's boring.
Right, but we've had so many Jedi we've seen
Yeah.
fall from doing good.
Yes.
We've seen people from the dark turn the other way. We've also, you know, Han Solo starts off as a entirely gray character.
Yeah.
Now George slightly retconned that a little bit
Yeah.
with the you know, A New Hope
No, with
changes.
Last Jedi.
No, A New Hope changes.
Oh yeah. When with the shooting, the whole okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, he somewhere decided that Han shooting first was a bad thing, and it's like
No,
it
he was
always told us. It always that always informed us of a very simple thing about Han Solo.
yeah, he was out for number 1.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm excited to see like even our best characters in Star Wars definitely, I mean Obi-Wan, right? Oh, it was true from a certain point of view. Bullshit. Bullshit. Right? He's not always making, people don't always make good decisions, even your good people, but I just don't want to see, everybody is equally terrible. I don't want everybody to be equally terrible. I'm tired of those stories. I want some optimism in my life, people. I want optimism in my Star Wars.
Yeah. Maria said, I swear. So yes, I don't mind doing gray area in Star Wars. I think Andor does that incredibly well. I think we've always had little bits and pieces of it. The expanded universe did it very well at times. But I'm just not like the postmodernist view is destructive to the idea of good versus evil,
and it's
and I
boring.
don't mind the gray areas, but I want it to remain a good versus evil story.
Yes. Yeah. And I think this is a good point. If we hadn't gotten the
When you
ambiguity,
said this is a good point, I thought you were going to click on the one that said Marisha is awesome.
oh, Marisha is awesome. I was trying to explain this to one of your nephews the other day. He wasn't amused that I was trying to take pictures, and he was like, ugh. And I was like, dude, you missed the part where I'm awesome. And he just rolled his eyes. But it's okay. I was unfazed. I do think that you're right. If we hadn't gotten so much ambiguity and all of that, then maybe we would be less defensive about it right now.
Yeah.
I think
No, I mean,
I think that's a good point.
It's fair to say that the sequel trilogy, it really is what colors a lot of perspectives.
And a lot of my concerns about the kind of stories that Star Wars tells.
Right. And that's the thing is like, I want what colors my view of Star Wars to be the original trilogy, really. because that's the original trilogy is like one of the mountaintops of filmmaking.
Right.
And everything else has to try to live up to that, and nothing ever really does, and I don't know if anything ever really will.
Mm-hmm.
And because of but because of that, that's what I want to compare my Star Wars to, and I try to do that rather than filtering everything through the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. So I like this observation, and that's just how things, the pendulum. Um Unfortunately,
I agree.
I'm seeing the indication that I'm seeing as that people are not happy. We have not gone far enough yet into gray. We want to just keep pushing everything more and more gray. And it's just a gray world is boring.
Yeah. This statement, I don't totally disagree with you that they have really made a mess. They bought what at the time Marvel was king.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, Marvel remained king for a while. And this was the one thing, this was the one franchise that could have unseated it without Marvel unseating itself,
Mm-hmm.
which it has
Kind of
kind
started
of
to do.
done.
Yeah.
But the truth is that it's kind of like everything else. It's like, oh, I don't like this new thing that my favorite franchise did. It's like
Right.
it doesn't take away what that original was.
Yeah.
The Hobbit movies don't take away the masterpiece that was Lord of the Rings.
Right. Yeah. So,
But they really did. They bought what should have been the biggest turnkey franchise on the planet
mm-hmm.
and kind of half-assed it with what they tried to do with it.
Yeah. So the yes, there is danger to everything being a total binary. However, there is also a danger to everything being relative.
Yeah, but I mean, I try not to like I don't do that much on the show, but like as Christians, we view the world as binary.
Yes, many things in the world. Yeah,
Well,
I mean the good and the evil and the yes.
at the end of the day, that's what as a Christian, that's what the world is a battle between forces of good and evil.
Right.
Which is why which is why telling these stories, that's why comic books that are, good versus they're always good versus evil, and the Lord of the Rings, that's why the Lord of the Rings is the biggest book out there. Um it's why Star Wars was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a simple idea that comes to us through the Bible and through lots of other and through many other mythologies as well. Is what is this idea of good versus evil? It's ingrained in us.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't mean we can't tell stories in the gray area.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that
Because
there's. I mean,
it
obviously there's gray in the world.
yeah, 100%.
But to try and tell a story that again, like I said, stories that are completely good and where everything is totally clear cut or boring. Stories where everything's totally gray, also boring. I want to see, I want to see, man, I want to see good stories. I want to see things. I want to see a fleshed out world. I want it to, genius. I love that Jedi in name only. Um, and I think
But
that
no,
they do.
this is true. I mean, this is the story we're seeing unfold. We've seen
Yeah,
a couple of Jedi that are part of everything that's going on here. That they're more concerned with politics
yeah, for
and
sure.
appearances,
Yeah,
where you really are getting you're getting the view through Saul of a character who is really more concerned with doing the right thing
right.
than, which is why I really am scared like they're going to have him be the one that does the really heinous thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yes, like I
I'd
don't
like
know.
him to be
It's
good. I mean, I guess we'll just have to see. Um, yeah. So yeah, that probably, if you missed the memo, that we're religious, it probably will explain kind of a lot of the way we view things. And obviously, everybody's, we like to have conversations with people who see things differently than us. But yeah, I totally understand that everybody, um, everybody brings their own perspective to stories. So yeah, that's
And
definitely,
that's the thing. You're new to our channel. I guess you're new to our channel. This is the first time you've been in a live chat. And so, like, we are happy to welcome a variety of opinions here. Like, that's
yeah.
in fact, quite often we're fairly divided here, especially when the rest of the crew is around.
Hmm.
That we do have a lot of difference of opinion just within our crew here.
Sometimes even just within our house.
Yeah. So always glad for new perspectives in the chat.
Yeah.
As long as you're pleasant, because
Yeah.
whoever the guy we had to give the axe a little while ago
was
like,
not nice.
yeah.
Didn't have anything like, I mean, I'll debate all day long. It's because of the productive to say, by golly. So yeah, I'm really just curious. I'm just curious where we're going.
Yeah.
I really hope they're telling, I hope that they're here to tell a good story, and that they're more interested in telling a good story than they are in any specific narrative. Because I feel like we've kind of gotten some sort of narrative driven stories in Star Wars here lately.
Mhm.
And I really just I want them to flesh out the world. I want them to tell a compelling story that has a really clear beginning, middle, end. Like, I want to see stories that have a plan and that makes sense. I'm talking to you, Disney. And I'm the one in the house who's a lot more of a fan of the sequels, I think, than Andrew. But the fact that there was like no plan, and there's like so many like okay, so for example, this weekend we had a bunch of friends, we got together and we made a 48-hour movie. So we sat around and we threw around ideas, we had a writer's room, and we had a plan, and somebody wrote a script, and we got the next morning, we were like, this doesn't work, they threw out the script. And so literally they would film a scene, and then they would sit down, they'd be like, all right, what happens next? Which is not a formula for the most expensive franchise in existence. It's not the way to make yeah, it's not the way to, like, it works fine for a 48-hour film project, but please don't do it with Star Wars anymore. Tell us some good stories. That's what I want to hear. I want good stories.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to have a little fun doing making a movie in 48 hours, which was pretty wild. And
yeah,
we'll do a watch party over on our Discord whenever it goes up public.
Yep, it was pretty fun. Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. I mean, pretty much most of the people involved, are in movies. So I think honestly that may have been a little bit of a hindrance, because everybody had like somebody was like,
well, somebody let the actor in the
we need
room.
a shot list. Yeah, somebody let the actors in the writer's room. Yeah. Yes, we want answers. We want answers this season.
Yeah.
We do not know if there will be a second season.
And I don't want to read the answers in a comic book later.
I don't want to read the answers in a comic book later, or a video game, or a novel. I want us to tell the whole story.
Yeah. So while I'm still kind of okay with where we're going, we're gonna have to see where it goes. Like I said, I will not judge. I will judge it fully when it's all out. Man, we're all still sore from that.
Yeah. So my teenager started watching Firefly while her younger siblings were out of town this summer, and she's pretty sulky.
Yeah,
she's pretty sulky. She's just now discovered Firefly because she's only 14. And so, yeah, she's very offended. She's like, it only lasts for 12 episodes. It's like, yeah, we don't want to talk about it. We're just all still salty about that whole situation.
Yeah.
Okay, we heard this is a single season series. I'd be okay
That's
with
what
that.
they're saying, but we don't ever know if
That's true.
that
Shogun
it
was only
won't come
supposed to.
back next season with a different name and the
Yeah.
same characters. But we'll see.
Yes, we all aim to misbehave, but not my children. They better aim to behave. This is the real reason we didn't show them. We didn't show them Firefly sooner. So yeah, it's, I'm always excited about new Star Wars. I just am. I'm always optimistic about new Star Wars. And so I just really hope that we tell stories that are going to add to the lore, add to the world, and that are going to give us more information about the universe without retconning everything that came before it.
Yeah.
I don't like it whenever we're like, oh, never mind, we're going to retcon that thing, so yeah.
Yeah, you can find a whole episode of me ranting for like an hour about how bad the Willow series was.
And it was a shame because it had so much potential, but they really there were so many things that they did not deliver well. And there were some things that were real, it like I said, it had real potential, but they just decided to make everybody bitter and unlikable.
Well, and written by someone that clearly didn't understand fantasy.
Yeah.
But so do you have anything else you want to say about this week's episode?
No, I think I pretty much said it at least once, maybe multiple times.
If you like that crest graphic, there is a t-shirt on our TeePublic page with the crest without the it does not have the Bring Star Wars Celebration to New Orleans stuff on it, but I do have that crest on a t-shirt on our TeePublic page. And if I can find the link, I'll put the link up. Why can't I put the link up? It says it's up, but it's not.
This is great. Wait, where'd it go?
What are you looking for?
Wait. Something about this becoming a therapy circle for brokenhearted sci-fi fans. Yeah.
That happens around here sometimes.
It does. Yeah. And the more of us that there are actually like here, the more we sort of commiserate. Yeah. And it's amazing how often the commiseration circles back around to Firefly. It's pretty free. It's pretty normal. It's a pretty normal place for us to be sad about. Thing, not a place. Let's just ignore all of the the grammar that I just used there. Pretend like I just didn't totally butcher the English language.
It's late. Nobody cares.
Yeah. My English
your daughter might hear it later and correct you, but
the children that I teach English to might care.
Right, but
anyway,
I think that's a good place to wrap it up for the night. Thank you so much for everybody that jumped in. Ghost, since you're new here, I will make sure to tell you there's several people here in the stream that also have podcasts that are part of the Red 5 Network. Lots of really good podcasts. Go check it out. But you can find all of them at bio.link/Red5. And we're back. Glad to be back. We will be back way more regular now. This is actually third show in like 3 days.
It is.
See if I can keep that. See how long I can keep that going. But we are back and very happy to be back. So you leave? No. I'm going to be doing it by myself now.
Yeah. So he says he just can't hack it without me. We all know it's true love.
Thank you so much to everybody that jumped in the chat tonight, especially to the new folks, except that one guy. You know who you are. I've already forgotten your name.
Yes, please don't come back.
All right, y'all have a good night. You can find our show, you can find us on Twitter at sci_fictionary or crew_podcast at CRU_podcast. And until next time, may the force be with you.
This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/Red5.